All right, welcome everybody to today's special episode of Profit Acceleration Secrets. And today we are conducting a profit acceleration coaching session. And I am delighted, so delighted, honestly, to welcome my guest, Melanie James. Melanie, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
I'm good. I'm good. Now, Melanie, we've had a couple of conversations leading into our time today. I was very excited when I got your email just to reconnect and kind of talk through some business opportunities that you're working through. So I just want to say thank you for being open to coming on the show and having this conversation. I know whatever we're going to talk about is going to help a lot of people out. So thank you for your time first and foremost.
Thank
But
you for having me.
no, absolutely. But let's go ahead and before we dive in, I want to give you an opportunity. Please quickly introduce yourself, tell us about your business, and teach us a little bit more.
So, I'm Melanie James. I'm the owner of Especially For You LLC. I am located here in Virginia. Been in business for 16 and a half years. I started as a professional makeup artist in 2007, and in 2017, I added on aesthetics. In Virginia, we have two tiers. So I went professional first, and then I went back in 2019 to get my master's license. So 16 and a half years of Especially For You.
All right, perfect. And I got a quick, complete side note to my planned conversation, but the word esthetician, can you say it right for me? Because I was trying to prepare for our conversation. I can't say it to save my life. So teach
Yes,
me.
you can. I have faith in you. Esthetician.
Esthetician. Was
Yes.
that all right? Fair enough. Fair enough. Well, pleased with that. So break it down a little further for us. So, what are the unique mix of products, services that you offer in your business?
So so my focus is mostly in corrective skincare. So I do a lot of the advanced treatments, chemical peels, dermaplaning, microdermabrasion. I create customized skincare routines. I really like to see legit change in the skin. Healthy skin. It's not just necessarily for the folks with acne or dark spots, but um, honestly, everyone needs to have a consistent skincare routine that's customized for them. So everything I do is unique to my clients based after a skin analysis. In treatment, everything is going to be based on what I see that day. Their routine that I have at home is going to be based on what I see. And then also, every time they come in, we are double checking to make sure that what we're doing is still working for them. I also offer full body waxing. Brows and Brazilians are my specialty. And of course, makeup.
All right, perfect. And I love, the mindset you shared with me many months ago when we first connected was that you are your skin's best friend. Am I getting that correct?
That part. I like to create a really kind of fun and relaxed atmosphere, because there's a lot of technical terms and the formal scientific words that can be really overwhelming to somebody. And there's a certain level of vulnerability that people have when they come to you about their skin.
Okay.
Being honest, how it affects their self-esteem, their livelihood. And waxing, of course, can be an intimate service. So we getting real close and personal. So you have to be able to make somebody feel comfortable. And that's always my goal. Like when you come in my door, I want you to feel like you've known me your whole life. We've been friends forever. Like you have that environment, that your secrets are safe for me. And I always joke. And when I tell people, that this is a safe space, and that's even in the treatment room or outside somewhere, like your secret is safe for me.
All right. And just again, kind of going a little bit off script, and then we're going to really, really dive into your business. But break it down for the fellas, because I think that was, again, one of the first things I mentioned to you. Like, I am a caveman, right? I'm a dad, I'm a businessman. I don't do the personal grooming things. I shave my head because that's just the easiest, fastest thing instead of going and spending 3 hours in the barber shop. So, how much of this applies to the world of men and cavemen like myself?
So, you familiar with the KISS method? Keep it simple, stupid. I always joke and I tell people I'm a lazy esthetician and I assume all my clients are lazy. So I try not to make it very complicated. Honestly, most of my people are on like a 5 product routine, and that is daytime and nighttime. My guys, I usually make it a little easier because most of y'all do not have anything consistent going for you, respectfully. So I tried it simple: cleanser, toner, moisturizer, and a sunscreen because everybody needs a sunscreen. So just my goal is always to just initiate the habits. Most people do not have any kind of consistency, any kind of routine. They're like, oh, I might wash it in the daytime or I might wash it at night. But really, if you have less products and less steps, people are more inclined to stick with the routine and actually do it. And then I give you a nice little gentle nudge, and I'm like, I have faith in you.
All right, fair
And
enough.
they're like, you know what? Okay, I think I can do this.
Well, you convinced me completely, and I think the only thing that kind of stopped me at the time from following through was just the fact that I'm here in Atlanta and you're up in Virginia. So I will. I need to find my Melanie. I need to find my skin's best friend here in my local Atlanta market.
I'll see what I can do to help.
All right, fair enough. But now, Melanie, the whole point of our conversation today is just to have a great conversation to talk about business growth opportunities for everything you may be working through. It really uncover some strategies that I think can be used practically, very effectively for everything you're building. But let me ask you this first. So, if we have a conversation and I drop some knowledge on you that you are willing to test out to move forward in your business, what does your business look like 6 to 12 months from now? What are some key goals that you have out there?
Um, whew, we've touched on some of this here, and so a lot of things you have said are still ringing in my ears. I am implementing my CRM system, and until that, I have a friend who's actually launching one here. He's a business coach, and his system it's got the sauce. And so he's working on launching that. So I'm being patient for that, but consciously I have started doing little things, increasing my email marketing, my follow up, stuff like that. And so 6 to 12 months, I have my new shop. I just expanded into a commercial space. So we're fully rented out. We're having events on the side. We are doing customer appreciation, networking. We're taking the 5 figures to 6 figures. That's my goal.
Nice.
I'm claiming it now. We will be a 6 figure business in the next 12 months.
All right. Well, I know from our last conversation, I mean, we literally put together a roadmap that projected very favorably to hitting a lot of those goals. So let me open it up. I mean, I would love to kind of hear where you at now. What are some of the things you're working on, and what can I offer just through brainstorming, through a great conversation? I love to dig in and kind of see where we go from here.
Absolutely. When you do your SWOT analysis, it's it's definitely, putting the mirror in your face. So it's like, like you really have to be honest with yourself and be like, okay, this is where I'm slacking at. Like, okay, I'm really good at these things, but I kind of suck at these things. And
I
a lot
call
of
that.
business owners aren't, we're not honest. You know the people who are like, they provide a really great product or service, but their customer service kind of lacks, or they have amazing customer service and the actual service or product is kind of mediocre, and everybody can't be amazing at all spaces, so sometimes when you get to certain places, either outsourcing it, contracting somebody to fill the gaps or whatever.
Mhm.
And obviously some of those things do take time, so in the meantime, it might just be me, myself, and I, which for 16 and a half years has been me, myself, and I. um
Yeah.
I do have some systems in place that make it easier, like my booking site, does offer email and text marketing. However, it's self-initiated. So having something that will automate that process for me, so I don't have to remember to, like, oh, I got to go compose this email and make sure I follow up on this set of clients that came in at this time. And, oh, well, these people are, they just got a consultation. Oh, let me send the follow up in 3 days, especially when the overlap is so quick. It's like, oh, that 3 days could be me sending emails every day if I have a consultation on the books, and somebody just getting into skincare every day of the week that I'm open. So then I'm going to be like, yeah, this needs to be automated. This needs to
Absolutely.
do something different, making sure you're talking to your target audience. So I've been trying to be very conscientious about, okay, who do I want in my chair?
Yeah. Well, and I remember from our original conversation, so a number of things, just kind of backtrack on my memory, we definitely talked about your ideal clients. We talked about your growth plan. And I remember you had some thinkings like how far you want to grow or how you want to grow. Because I told you, Melanie, the energy, the spirit, the leader that I sensed in you is meant for some amazing things. But I don't know if you're going to get there if you're the one behind the chair, right? So, um,
I recall somebody saying some things, something along the lines of like an army of little Melanies out here spreading the good skincare word. And it's definitely been sticking in my brain. I just want you to know
all
that
right.
it has still been stuck in my head. Like maybe I need to rethink this. Do I want, the employee space? And even if it's not that necessary that they're under me, but being able to offer classes and coaching, so that at least the Melanie knowledge is being spread.
Yeah, and I think the opportunity, like you shared, moving from having a great five figure business to having a multi six figure business, and then sharing the knowledge, letting other people understand how to build similar. I think there's a lot of business legitimacy in that, and this is where I love and hate the word influencer because everybody on social media is an influencer, but when I say it for me personally, it's the real influencers is when folks in your local community are looking to you for your leadership, for your influence, because everybody needs a best friend for their skin, right?
They do.
So
They just don't know it yet.
so those are just some of the things that I do remember, but I'm curious to kind of to continue asking, what's the number one thing you're focused on right now with so many different reflections, like where's your focus?
Um, in all honesty, first stop, filling my rental spaces. I've actually hosted my first event at my shop. That was amazing. Like 2 weeks ago, it was I was in awe all day. Like I was literally just walking around the room, this room full of people and vendors and a live band, and just like, wow, this is happening at my space. So
Well,
definitely getting my
last time we
renters
talked,
filled. That
I think we were literally talking with like people walking around with hammers and everything still in the way, so everything's completed and you are at a point of hosting events now.
Yes, I hosted a whole
Fantastic.
event. That was super exciting. But
Congratulations.
I want to get my renter spaces filled because that will at least cut out of my personal overhead expense. So that's the first box I got to that I'm really focused on. Um, and then from there, now that I finished with Black Brands, before Accelerator,
Mhm.
I have a little mental clarity because that was a lot in the middle of doing renovations, but we got it done. And definitely, connecting with great resources like yourself. Now it's like, okay, now these other pieces I can bring in now that I have just one little less thing, well, two technically less things on my plate. I can redirect. Um, Getting that CRM system is important. And then honestly, because I've had so much going on, I've been slacking on my marketing. I gotta be honest.
Okay.
So getting back in gear with that, making sure I'm staying on top of it, making sure we're having the good conversations with the people I'm connecting, getting back networking. Um, I haven't been as out and about as I normally am. So then reshifting to starting my classes. I've
Okay.
been looking into what I need to do to have my classes certified by our state's governing body, by Chev, so that if I offer a certificate class in person, it's legit. Like it's not just, "Oh, I got a piece of paper from Office Depot that says I went to this class." Like no, when you get this piece of paper, it can count for a continuing education credit. Um, Cosmetologist here just kind of got the ability to wax from the neck down.
Okay.
So that would be an awesome place to bridge a gap for them to do body waxing, to learn the rest of, services that they don't necessarily offer. For estheticians, one of my strong things, like I say, is skin analysis, making sure every service is customized. So, how to do a good skin analysis or just other areas that, people may not feel as strong at, how to read ingredients, how to pick the right products. And then for an online class, so I can have an out of this area reach, which my in-person ones could also be recorded and offered the same way. But for estheticians looking to start a business, how to build your first 100 clients, how to find a location that gives you good visibility. Because a lot of people want to graduate and start on their own, and it's hard. I did it. I was a little stupid. So for my mistakes, we're still here. So it wasn't that stupid, but I 0 stars. I do not recommend. I might have, if the job offerings here were probably better, I would have liked to have been, employed somewhere, but that just means you got to work twice as hard to make sure you know the information so that you're not out here faking it till you make it, that you're opening your door and you're providing a legit service.
Yeah.
And you can build trust with your clients.
All right. Well, so teach me this, Melanie, because I love all the reflections and all the things on the radar for you. So my question for you is, how do you manage your time? What does your time management process as a business owner look like?
Huh? I'm kidding. I'm kidding. So uh it sucks sometimes, my booking site is, I have to write stuff down or at least put it in my phone.
Mhm.
Um I was used to be the kid with, like, I love the physical planners and stuff like that and decorate, and I would use it, and then I'd fall off. And but now putting stuff in two places is not, it's not feasible because I have a client book. So it's like, okay, I got appointments in one spot. So I'm going to write down every client appointment on this, in this calendar. So really making sure I put stuff in my notes, being more mindful as far as stuff I got to follow up with, my client schedule. If I have meetings for the day, when I put them into my calendar, they can also sync into my booking site. So I can see literally, okay, if I have to do these things or be somewhere, like, oh, I might forget, but if I open my booking app, it's right there for me. So I don't even have to look at two apps. It's in one space. But honestly, I get up early, like not like, like 4 a.m. I'm not one of those people. But let's say my first client's at 9, I'm usually up by like 6:30, so I have time to move around the house, be a little slow, have my coffee, get my life together, travel down the street, so that I can show up on time. Um, try to get places early. Um, I'd like to leave 5 minutes before I'm supposed to be places sometimes, that take 30 minutes to get there, and I'm gonna be on time. But so so doing better like that, but really trying to stay more organized. And I have a plot twist challenge. I got diagnosed with ADD last year. So
Okay.
medication helps my life. It helps me adult way better.
Yeah.
And it also kind of made me realize, like, oh, a lot of these gaps that I had, you didn't really realize it until now you can focus. Now you can remember to send the email or the text back, and you're remembering deadlines and things that always kind of was like, oh, that was due tomorrow, or oh shoot, I was supposed to have that back last week, and you don't think about it, and so that's really honestly one of the biggest helps in my adulting better
All right. So
and the
let's
time management aspect.
well let me drop a couple of thoughts around time management. I was trying to recall. I don't think we, in our couple of past conversations, I didn't focus a lot more on time management because I think at those times I think I saw you really, you were needing the clarity on like exactly where you were going. And that was a lot of our previous conversations. I want to talk about time management a little bit here, and I'll kind of frame this up in a couple of quick ways. But first, I want to give a shout out. So, Chrissy Johnson is checking out our conversation right now. Melanie, I want to.
That is, hold on, that is the product label queen right there.
All right, I was going to say I want to get you two connected because y'all are right there, but you already.
Listen, I know her. Chrissy is the product label queen. If you need labels for anything, you call that lady right there. That is her name. That is the name of her business. Y'all find her that way. Okay, sorry.
No, all right. So I was going to get y'all connected. So Chrissy, just be prepared. Chrissy's probably already heard this spiel a little bit before, but Chrissy also says automation will help. So that's going to be a part of my thinking as well. So Chrissy, awesome. Thank you for that extra plug. And she says, hi, Melanie. Um,
Hey, girl.
so let's talk about time management really quickly. Excuse me. Have I mentioned to you in our past conversations about profitable time management?
No,
All right.
I don't
So
think we got that far.
All right. So Do you have pen and paper right next to you, or your calculator from your phone, maybe?
I do have pen and paper. I tend to keep it close by normally.
All right. So let's do a quick exercise, and then I'll go into some strategies on how you may want to leverage this moving forward.
Okay.
Um, so first, go ahead and write down your target revenue number for the next 12 months. So by this time, September 2024, how much money do you want to make? And let me know when you
Okay.
got it. All right. So second number is you're going to write down how many days out of this calendar year, so out of 365 days, how many days do you want to work? And I'll say that that is a number a lot of business owners don't think about, but the reality is you can define how many days you want to work. Do you want to work 365? 254 is about the average number for people in 9 to 5 jobs once you factor in holidays and a little bit of sick time. So 254 is like your normal working year for 9 to 5 folks. For me personally, my number is 169. That gives me a couple of months off to do special projects and to do more charity and, kind of volunteer type stuff.
Hmm.
But what I find is a lot of people don't think about it. Business owners specifically, they don't say, I want to work this many days per year. So you get to make up.
So I run on a 5-day work week. So I was like, and then you kind of you threw that monkey wrench in there too, and you're like, okay, let's take out the vacation days, like stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, I was like, huh. So okay, so
All right. And
I
that,
don't
that
mind my 5-day week schedule.
all right. And that could be something to reflect on even after this conversation. Like literally pull out a calendar, do the math, right? The next question, the next number that I want you to figure out is how many hours per day do you want to work? Now, not how many hours a day do you work? How many hours per day do you want to work on your in your business, not on your business?
Okay.
All right. So now you got those three numbers. Go ahead and multiply.
Except for the math for the calendar year.
Okay. Well, go with 254. That's about a standard 5 day work
5 day.
week.
Okay.
Yeah, roughly 254. Um, Go ahead and multiply the number of days per year times the number of hours per day. And I got my calculator up if you need me to do any quick math over the screen here. Got another amazing business leader, Jennifer J. Just said, did somebody say automation? Jennifer J. If Chrissy is the product label queen, Jennifer J is the business automation queen. So I can
Okay.
get you connected there as well. But
If my math is correct, we have 2032.
Okay, now divide that revenue number divided into 2032.
Oh, sir, listen. 120 divided by 2032. You got your calculator up because my other phone is in the other room.
All right. So what's the revenue number?
120.
120 divided by, you said
2032.
2032. All right. So this comes out to $59.05. So that essentially is your hourly, the cost of your hour is, let's just round up, say $60. So now, Melanie, where I'm going with this from a time management point of view is that anything you do in your business productive hours, it needs to equate to roughly $60. So
Okay.
now when you're doing things, when you're chasing things, when whatever you may be doing business wise, I need that to somehow equate to you earning an extra $60 because now that's what your time is worth. So if
Hmm.
people drop in on you and do things that zap your time, if you find yourself hanging out on social media, if whatever you may be doing, if it doesn't equate, and Chrissy said it perfectly in the chat here, to revenue generating activities during at least your productive business hours, then I need you to really consider what you're doing. If it doesn't help you get a client, keep a client, or serve a client, then we really need to say, is it worth whatever I'm investing this time in?
Mm,
That's where I'm going from a time management point of view. And now you can
I'm here
quantify.
for it.
Yes, ma'am. So you can quantify it, right? So you can say, hey, I just spent the last 2 hours doing such and such, whatever that is. Did I get $120, or did it set me up to earn $120 somehow, some way, right? Did it help me get a client, keep a client, serve a client? That's my starting point from a time management point of view. I guess let me stop there and ask, how does that connect to you?
It definitely puts things in perspective. So so even in your whatever, I just went with an 8 hour day, and roughly my week equates to only 42 hours.
Okay.
Um, with a shorter day in the middle of the week and a couple of longer days. So I average about a 42-hour work week anyway, which is fine. Like I don't feel burnt out, but I'm also not completely full throughout those whole time. Now, man, I can make a lot in a less, depending on service price points and stuff. But
Mhm.
it really kind of makes me think about that gap time,
Okay.
like that interim time in that 42 hours where I'm not booked. Like, am I doing something to be booked? Whatever. So it's like, yeah. So now it's definitely going to make me more conscious of my downtime, which, like, I'll say 70% of the time I'm trying to do something productive, whether it's,
Mhm.
creating a marketing post, or like something to put in my arsenal for another post or stuff like that, or researching things. But
Yeah. Well, and I
now
just
it's
did.
like a conscious dollar, like, oh, would this make me $60 right now?
Well, and I just did the math. So a 42-hour work week at about $60 per hour, that's $131,000 per year.
Oh, so I was shortchanging myself. Let me stop playing.
I was going to say, so that's right close to the target you just mentioned. But so now let's talk about, how do we take steps towards getting there, right? Two very specific appointments that I want you to put on your calendar. These are things that I put on my calendar. These are things that I mentioned to all my clients to put on their client calendars. Two appointments on a daily basis. I actually need you to take at least 30 minutes to think. And so right now on my calendar, there is an appointment that is literally called TTT, time to think.
I think you mentioned, I think I feel like this sounds familiar when you
Okay.
put it, like when you said that.
All right. So that means you didn't do it the first time I said it then, Melanie.
Huh? It was a lot of information I was taking in at one time, Jarvis.
All right. So now this is our second chance, right? But yeah, so during that time to think, Melanie, that is the time that I want you to just turn everything off, especially with your ADD. Um, Turn off the computer, turn off the TVs, whatever's, and just, sit there on that beautiful couch in the living room there and just say, man, how am I going to make $131,000 this year? What's the number one thing I should think of? And your brain is just going to start to walk you down the path. Okay, hey Melanie, we need to do this. Let's do the month of September. Let's do 2 events now. Hey, for the month of September, let's do 4 events now, right? You're going to start thinking of new solutions to solve your own problem. Um, so that's the number one thing. I was looking at Chrissy just said, my time to think be over. So minimum 30 minutes, but it can go over 30 minutes for sure, Chrissy.
I do find, I do, and it's, people probably think, it's weird, but I know more people who do this than don't. But I don't listen to the radio in the car anymore because I don't like half the music that's on it. So I usually have my phone plugged in.
Okay.
But in a time where, like, I might be on the way home, and it's a good 20 plus minutes for me to and from work.
Mhm.
Um, a lot of times I'll ride in silence, and I might ride 45 minutes in silence. And I will use that space sometime to, like, okay, what are we doing? What am I missing? What I got to catch up on? And I don't, it's not like a consciously planned thing, that your time to think seems more like intentional. This is my designated time, but I kind of do it inadvertently in passing. But I think I should have more mindfulness with it. There we go. That's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and I would say intentionally like ask yourself the biggest, scariest questions that you could think of in the moment. So, one of the big things I've been working on personally in my business model, Melanie, is what would it look like? How can I make $100,000 in one day? Right? Based on my business model, what would that take? Right? And that's a big question. And I've reflected on it, but it took maybe a couple of weeks. But I got a game plan, and now I have a path on some
Hmm.
things that I'm working towards. Right? But so time to think. The second appointment that I want you to put on your calendar. Now, this one, minimum of once a week, but you,
Okay.
you could do it every single day, but at least do it once a week. And so for me, every Friday at 4:30 is my time to measure. So TTT and TTM, those are two appointments that I want you to put on your calendar. And now your time to measure is where you're going to sit back and look at all the key statistics in your business. So, how many leads did I get this week? How many events did I put on this week? How much money did I make this week? Right? How much revenue came in this week? How much expenses did I have to pay out this week? Whatever the key metrics of your business is, and that obviously opens up another conversation. Are you Have you defined the key metrics of your business that you need to manage on a daily, weekly, monthly basis? Right? Because businesses are basically big machines with a lot of moving parts. So we have to be able to measure if we want
Yeah.
to be able to manage it. Right. So let me stop there and just get any thoughts or feedback from you.
Um, Sunday would probably be my day because my work week is shifted. I'm not a Monday through Friday. I'm a Tuesday through Saturday.
Fair enough.
Or it could be Saturday evening. But Sunday, like, and it's one of those like unconscious, again, another unconscious thing that you do. Like,
Mhm.
my booking site literally tells me my metrics. Actually, it sends it to me in an email every Monday morning. Like, hey, you did this much last week. This was your most profitable service. You had this many returning clients. This week you're projected to do XYZ dollars. So it low key kind of like analyzes those little things and sends me this email every Monday. That says, hey, you have a lot of these booked, but this one actually makes you more money in less time. You have about of your hours that you have for availability, you have about this much percentage of that time booked.
Mhm.
And so it's not a conscious look. Like, I look at it and it's like I know what I need to make, or what I want to make for the week and stuff like that, but really like paying attention to those numbers
Yeah.
and then tying it with potential marketing to fill the gaps. Like, okay, if this is saying, hey, Mel, this service makes you this much more money. Like, okay, so maybe we need to, push our marketing to get more of this in the door, moving forward or whatever. So yeah.
Perfect. Well, and the thing is, yeah, I love that you're using the word intentional, right? Because the thing with business is this weird thing where you can absolutely get lucky and make it, but you cannot get lucky and keep it, right? So to keep it, to continue to move forward in business and to grow and to become more and more successful, if for nothing else, if success equals stability, right, it has to be intentional. And so that's exactly what we're talking about. And Chrissy in the comments here, she says she does audiobooks in the car. So because of that comment, I'll say maybe officially we also have what I'll say time to learn. Because one thing about business, it is a constant learning. Like, you just can't stop. The day you stop learning in business is the day you're going to fall off. But I
Forever
do want,
students.
yeah, I want to separate your time to think, time to measure. That is turn everything off for the most part. Unless, if worst case, if you have a tablet where you're tracking your thoughts and your ideas, but I'm an old school pen and paper kind of a guy myself. Um, but then, yeah, absolutely, still have time to learn, and that could be in the car or while you exercise or walk or whatever. Listen to your audiobooks, read some good blogs, industry papers, so you know what's going on industry wise. But that's kind of where my thoughts are going, because how you started the call, Melanie, with so many of the different ideas. But then, hey, my marketing fell off a little bit. Well, you'll see that on a weekly basis when you do your time to measure. and you see the dip in your leads for the week, okay, hey, I got to make sure next week marketing is not falling off, right? So you get time to correct before the end of a month starts to kick in. Um, so
I
yes,
like that. That's easily implementable, which is one of the staples in my business. I like skincare to be easily implementable. Me and Sam came up with that one. It's like, yeah, like we need skincare for dummies over here. Like, hey, we need business running your business for dummies over here. No, not just stuff that makes it, eat like some stuff is like, but you're not doing. Or it's like, oh yeah, I heard about that, but you haven't implemented it. So it's like, oh, making that, it's like, okay, hey, go ahead and pull that piece of information out the back corner of your brain and
mhm.
go ahead and put it to work. Like you said, you found gaps in money that I could be making in small spaces, like little teeny changes. Like they weren't even major like overhauls of my business, So it's like, oh, that little piece of information that you like kind of knew, but you was like, okay, I'm just whatever. I'm gonna stick it
All
over
right. Well,
here.
what the old
Losing
folks say,
money.
yeah, they tell you if you knew better, you do better. So here we go. Mel, let me start to wrap us up, but let me just ask. I mean, just from today's conversation, you kind of started hitting at it. I try to offer some very straightforward, practical thoughts, but what are we going to implement? Now, I'm putting you on record with anybody and everybody, at least Jennifer and Chrissy, who's why. What are we implementing? Because now we are your accountability partners for success.
Listen, and I bet you Christy would send me a message like, okay, Mel, are you doing the things? She's a sweetheart like that. But definitely my conscious time, that time management to reflect and plan and to see where uh your lack thereof, or if you did implement something, if those processes were doing what they needed to do. And I like that, because like I said, it's something that I don't do it as an intentional, but setting it as a calendar and block time. And that's honestly uh somewhere I need to do better at anyway, is like just hey, this time of the day or this 1 hour or whatever, respond to emails, check what calls, even if it's in the afternoon, so it's still during business hours, but just blocking that time, to make sure you're responding, make sure you're keeping up with anything, because I'm good to see something on my watch, while I'm, working and forget, and it's not intentional. I'd be like, charge it to my mind and not my heart. But sometimes you need to respond. Sometimes it's time sensitive and you saw it, but because you saw it in your watch, it's not marked unread. And I know some people who do that too. They'll go back and mark everything unread so that when they go, back into their stuff, they'll see it there. But definitely. And then how can every hour make $60? Like I need all my hours to be at least $60. More is better, because honestly, one facial is 90. So, and if you put a little razzle dazzle, it might be 120. So that's definitely something to be, more conscious of. And then how we can make, if I'm not making it or making a plan to make sure all the hours is $60. But it sounds small, especially when you think price point. Like you saying, oh, how can I make 100K in, one day for what you do and the type of service? Oh, that's reasonable. Me, I don't know, sir. That's either a whole lot of service providing, or my classes have to be like astronomical and an arm and a leg.
Yeah, well, I was going to
Which
say
one do you
now,
think?
well, Melanie, maybe in our next conversation, we'll talk about how to add more value. That's ultimately what it comes down to, is how do we add value that equates to the dollar prices we're asking for. I'll say, with that profitable time management exercise we just did, look at the variables, because again, we just quickly said, hey, let's just do a basic, assume you just wanted to work 250 days a week or per year. But the reality is, when you really look at that calendar, the real number might be 180, 200, or whatever. And then you're going to see that all the calculations, they change. But I
True.
think I
That
personally,
dollar amount is probably going to go up definitely if you cut the days. So
Is
That
that
was I definitely am going to do that. That I'm going to sit down and do like, okay, well, how much vacation time do I really want to take out of these non-workable days? You know, do I really just want to have a weekend to get out of town, or do you want to have like, can I take a whole month off? You know, and what do I got to do to be able to do that? So yeah, you given me hella food of to thought as usual.
Well, no, Melanie, seriously, thank you for this opportunity. Before I let you go, I'd love for you to just, again, give yourself, your business a shout out. Tell us where can we find you online, in real life over in Virginia. Please tell us everything we need to know.
So my new location is in the heart of Churchland, Western Branch. I'm like half a traffic light into Churchland. But I'm at 6063 High Street West in Portsmouth, 23703. You can find me online, especially for you, LLC on Facebook, the number 4, the letter U underscore LLC on Instagram, or you can add me as a friend on Facebook, Melanie James, LE. My page is public. I'm friendly. You know, I don't bite. You can come on in. I act like this in real life. We have a little humor on the page. We talk skincare, all the things. I try to represent myself across all platforms equally so that when you meet me in person, nobody's surprised, like, oh, she's ridiculous. Absolutely. Come on in. That's how I get to be your skin's BFF, because we're going to have a good time. Um, and my website is E4U, the number 4, the letter U, LLC.com. And yeah, honestly, if you just put especially for you in Google, you'll find all of it.
All right, perfect. And I do want to give Black Brand a shout out. I mean, this connection between us was made possible between Blair Durham and Brian and the whole Black Brand group over there on your side of Virginia, from Portsmouth to, I don't know, they're going to be taking over the whole state pretty soon. I hope they need to take over the whole Southeast. I love what they're doing. So I do want to thank them for the connection. Melanie, again, I want to thank you and congratulations to you again, getting into your new spot, getting events going, coming up with just more and more clarity for everything you're building. I'm proud of you, and I thank you for this chance to just reconnect and talk it out a little bit.
And I appreciate you. You're a wealth of knowledge. You are absolutely a wealth of knowledge. You are worth every penny that you charge for what you do.
Thank you.
And yes, Black Brand. Shout out to my advisor, Sammy, and I'm pretty
Oh
sure
yeah,
I just seen
Sammy.
a text from her
Yeah.
pop up here. But I put all my notifications on do not disturb. But she's amazing, you know, and in her connecting me, she has a innate ability to put you with the people you need. So you're not wasting time, like with the time management. Like you're literally like, okay, you might have all these hours, you may not need them, but for the hours that we need, we're going to put you with the people who are going to fill the gaps
Yeah.
that you have in your business. So like shout out to Sammy. She's dope. And I'm super proud of what she's getting ready to do with the Surge program. One of my clients is actually getting into that. So I was happy to make that connection and get her put on, because Black Brand, Blair, they're doing amazing things, like a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of connections. You guys are amazing consultants, and I have appreciated the opportunity to get to know all of you.
Well, perfect. Well, Melanie, we're going to keep staying in touch. You got to
It's
deal
not
with me.
optional now, and I have to find you an esthetician.
Thank you. Thank you. And I was going to say, I know you got to deal with me. I know you're going to have to deal with Chrissy as well. So, Chrissy, let's stay on her. For everybody, thank you all for just plugging in, making us a part of your day. So, until next time, this is Jarvis and Melanie wishing you all more leads, more customers, and more profits in your business. Take care, everybody.